Hey y'all, this is Kim with Creative Escapades. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. Let's jump right into our video and see what we can create. So what I had intended to do for this project was another bloom pour technique on 8x8 inch gallery wrapped canvas, but I was going to change up the pillow paint, and instead of using house paint I was going to use this SoHo Titanium White. And this is very thick, it's almost like a paste, and I mixed it to the consistency of what the house paint was by just putting in Floetrol. And I had to start with just a little bit of Floetrol to thin out the titanium white, and then just kept adding a little bit more and more until I got it to about 5 or 6 ounces in this cup. And the colors that I want to use is going to be the DecoArts Extreme Sheen Sapphire, and I just mixed it with about 1/4 of that little spoon, and then 2 tablespoons of Floetrol. And same thing for the DecoArts Metallic Berry. And then for the cell activator, I'm using the Primary Elements Bling Gold Sparkle again, and I mixed about 1/4 of that small spoon with 2 spoons of the MinWax Polycrylic Clear Gloss. And this is what that looks like. And I just kept stirring until it was blended in well. And while it's white, if you've ever seen any of the paintings with the Bling Sparkle in it, you know that it's not. It's going to change to the color of gold when it hits those other colors on your canvas. So I have poured the titanium white into a puddle onto the canvas, and now I'm just adding my little puddles of color, and just gonna start with one in the center, and then I decided that I wanted to add some more, so I just took some more of the titanium white and made the puddle a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to add 2 more puddles, but I'm going to start with the berry and do it right the opposite of the one that's in the center. Put the blue on top and another little bit of the berry and the blue on top. And then we're going to add the Bling It Gold to all of them. And you just want to make sure you get a nice little puddle on top, because this you're going to try to blow it over the pillow paint. You're just going to blow down and then try to push it around. And what I failed to do in this video was to try to get those different direction petal look, and it just did not seem to be blowing over the pillow paint as much as it was blowing into the pillow paint. And you'll see here in a minute that I kind of more or less lost a lot of the color, and even the Bling It Gold there in the center had kind of sunk below the berry. And I'm thinking maybe that the metallic sapphire and the metallic berry was just too thin. That DecoArt was too thin of a paint to start with. And even though I didn't have any water and it was just Floetrol, it was just too thin. So it was kind of just melting down. You can see right there I have a lot of white over there on that one side of the right side of the canvas. But before I stretch it, I decided to go ahead and empty my cup of all of the titanium white, and hopefully that the colors would stretch and this would help it to bring the colors back up by making sure that I had paint for it to stretch over all the way to the edges. And this right here is just bugging me, so I added another little puddle of paint and gonna blow it out a little bit before I stretch. And it definitely does not look anything like a bloom pour. And the more I stretched it, and I was really trying to not lose a whole lot of the color, I was trying to pull it back up before all of the color flowed over the edges, but the more I stretched it, the more pastel looking the colors got. So they were blending more with the titanium white than they were flowing over it. So just touching up the edges here, but you can see there's definitely not a bloom pour look at all. And I started getting the little white freckles of white coming up, and I think that because I had to stir the titanium white so much because it was so thick that I had a lot of air in that mixture, and that was what was coming up and surfacing on the canvas. Just having a little bit of difficult getting my little caps back in place to hold the canvas up. But this is what it looked like, and I totally was not happy with it. And I kept hoping that it would change. There's a lot of blinget gold that's on the surface of the canvas, and I really didn't want to get rid of it just for that. Trying to rearrange my lighting there so you can get a real color look. And this is basically it. It's pink and light blue. It's not the vibrant sapphire and berry, and it's definitely not any petals showing there. So my intention was maybe to scrap it and do something else on it, do another pour, or soak it and just peel that off. But I set it over to the side of my work area and started working on something else. And every once in a while I'd go look at it to see if it had changed any, and maybe some of those colors had come back up to the top. And it didn't. It just pretty much stayed just like you see it now. And I really, really wasn't happy. But about 30 minutes into my other project, I went and checked on it again, and it still had not changed. And I thought, well, it's not going to hurt if maybe I try to blow on some of these areas where there is color on the canvas and see what happens. And by this time, the paint had started thickening up. It wasn't nowhere near dry. It usually takes 24 to 48 hours to dry, but it was thicker. And when I first blowed on some of these areas, the color and it just popped. And I was like, let me work on this a little bit more. So I worked with it and blew on it, and this is what I ended up getting. Now I added about 3 more little puddles of the blue and the berry with the Bling Gold and blew those out. And I actually ended up with some floral type looking design. Right there in the center, there's a gorgeous little bit of that Bling Gold. I don't know how I did it, but there's a couple places where it even swirls a little bit and actually looks like the center of a flower. And got some petal action and the Bling streaming through everywhere. I just love it. And I'm really excited about putting some varnish or resin on this. I haven't decided which it'll be yet, but this portion of the video is after about 3 days of it drying, and you can see there's no cracking. There's gold is just shimmering everywhere, and the colors held their vibrance, and I am just pleased with it. I think it has turned out great for a painting that I was planning on scraping off. So you just never know. Sometimes stepping away from the canvas, letting your brain realign and going back and looking at it again and maybe trying something else just works. And it actually paid off this time. So I want to thank you for joining me on this little experiment. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it has inspired you. And if it has, please click like and share. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do that now. If you ring that bell, you'll get notified when I upload future videos. Any comments or questions, leave them below. I love your feedback. And all of that helps my channel to grow. And I thank you so much for taking your time out and doing all those things. And I want you to know that I really, really appreciate it. The description of everything that I use in this video will be below in the description box, along with all the links to my social media and other things. So take time to check that out. And again, I want to thank you for joining me on this little adventure, and I hope to see you in my next creative escapade. Bye bye for now.